Paul Rainbird here with Santa Fe Media Network, and we're at the booth of Andrea Esty. And we stopped by because she has some very interesting items in her collection, and I wanted to hear a little bit more about them. So I'll have her talk a little bit about herself, and then we'll get some shots of some of her lovely items in the booth. Andrea, welcome.
Hi, I'm from Southern California and come here every year to do a couple of the shows. And so here's some of my favorite things.
Tell us, you said something about moose hair?
I love moose hair. And all of the framed items on top here were embroidered with moose hair by the Huron Indians. And these boxes are also moose hair on birch bark. And it's just such a dying art. It's so beautiful. And
oh no,
so
that's a new one.
Survives.
This is a new one for me. I've seen birch bark in the weaving, but it's with what, straw and other.
Well, there's a lot of times you'll see porcupine and things like that, but the moose hair is just so unique and so special. And a lot of them you see with floral decorations, and it's rare to find them with these figures. And then also figures that still have the color, because people put them out and then they faded in the sun. And it was all made for the tourists, going way, way back. And the 7th or 18th century French nuns that came over actually taught the Hurons how to do embroidery. And so instead of using thread, they used what they had, which was moose hair.
So do they dye the hair?
They dye the hair, yeah, similar to what you would do with, weaving textiles. They use natural products available in the area, and did dyes with, probably vegetable dyes and things like that.
That's great.
So yeah.
So how did you get into this business?
A collector, a mad collector.
You just started buying and you couldn't stop?
Started, as a little kid. I grew up around northern Minnesota reservations, and we spent a lot of time, as a child playing and seeing a lot of material and people. And so I became a collector. Moved to Colorado and continued collecting. Moved to California and continued collecting, and now eventually I had to sell something. So that's where.
Well, you certainly have some spectacular pieces in your collection.
Yeah.
And have you done the show before?
I have. I love this show. It's a great show. There's a lot of wonderful collectors and people who know nothing that just want to learn. They're new to it, and they're both welcome. We love them all.
What would you say is the oldest piece in your exhibit here?
Let's see. Well, there's a saddle blanket that's probably from the 1860s. That is Omaha Indian. And then I also have, I guess you might term it a fire bag.
Where they kept the items that they needed to build the fire?
Right, it's kind of a precursor to pipe bag, and that piece is really quite old. And there's some old uniforms that are built into it, possibly from Canadian Mounties, and the material is extremely old.
These bags that are on the table that have the
designs.
What kind of designs do you call them?
A lot of these are these flat bags are plateau area flat bags. So it would have been more in the northwestern tribes that made these, the plateau Indians. And a lot of times they did wonderful pictorials of horses and even cowboys and flags and all sorts, and then just designs too.
And there's a lot of porcupine quill weaving in that.
And these other ones, those are pipe bags, yes, and the lower half is porcupine. And sometimes porcupine is so familiar that people mistaken the moose hair for porcupine. But it's a similar kind of process, but it's a much wider material and not as fine as the moose hair is.
Well, I want to thank you for taking some time and describing your collection, and I hope people will come by. You're going to be here through tomorrow.
Through tomorrow till 5.
Okay, great. That's Museum Cultural in Rail Yard in Santa Fe. And if you're out of town, drive in. And if you're